Hi, Assalamualaikum. And for today, our project innovation is about split okara burger patty. And I will present about this project innovations. So, let's move to the introduction part. So, for this introduction, I will explain several um, informations about the red meat. So usually red meat is one of the major protein source that provide the protein to the consumer. But however, a previous study shows and a science data also have shown that the excessive consumption of red meat might bring some adverse effect to the human health, especially some of the processed meat product. This is including the beef salami, the sausage, the beef patty, have a high amount of sodium, preservative, and fat content. And usually, excessive consumption of this meat product will lead to several diseases such as hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and also obesity. So, in order to minimize the risk of the consumer to get infected by this disease, we have find a healthy choice. I'm sorry, we have find a healthier options to provide an alternative to the consumer to make sure they can choose a meatless based product that promising a good health benefit to them, as well as it have high amount of nutrient content, and it promising a good taste to the consumer. So our project innovation is about the split okara burger patty, and our first objective is we want to observe the effect um, of a different ratio between the okara and split gill mushroom in terms of physical characteristic, this including the texture and color. The second one is we want to determine the physical chemical properties, this including the fiber, fat, and protein. The third objective is we want to determine the cooking loss of the imitation beef patty in comparison with the beef patty. And the last one is we want to determine the most preferred formula of the imitation beef patty formulations that made from the okara and schizophyllum commune mushroom based on the sensory evaluation. So let's move to the next slide. So there are several benefits of the split okara burger patty. So the first is there is no any GMO. This means there is no genetically modified organism, hormone, and antibiotic were incorporated in these patty products. And besides that, the vegetarian patty, which is the split okara burger patty, have a lower cholesterol amount compared to the beef patty. As we know that the plant-based product usually have a lower fat content and lower cholesterol content if compared to the meat-based product. And also it have a good properties to ensure that a consumer can get a health benefit in terms of fiber and proteins in their daily diets. And as well as I said before, this split okara burger patty is rich in fiber, and it also have a low fat and low calorie content if compared to the real meat patty, and it is usually compatible with the vegan and vegetarian diets, since there is no egg, there is no red meat product or any meat additive in this product, so it can be one of the healthy choice to the consumer.
Okay, next I will explain about the methodology and flow of our research. First, we prepare our okara flour. Next, we prepare our split gill mushroom, and then we formulate our vegetarian patty with three different formulation. And then we do analysis, which is sensory evaluation, cooking loss, and proximate analysis of fat, fiber, and protein. Okay, first of all, we prepare our okara flour from soya bean. The soya bean is soaked, blend, and filtered to obtain the residue and being dried in the drying oven. To get a fine particle of okara, we blend it several times and sieve it until we procure powder. Okay, and then next, Okay, for split gill mushroom preparation, fresh split gill mushroom are washed to remove impurities and dirt. It is rinsed and drained to remove excess water to prevent it become soggy. To ensure the lifespan of the mushroom, they are dried until it turns darker under hot scorching sun. So when we want to use them for the purpose of patty preparation, we just soak it and blend the mushroom several times until it is crushed. Okay, lastly, for the formulation of imitation beef patty (IBP), the okara flour and chopped springy mushroom were added into the mixture according to three different formulation, which is 65 gram mushroom, 25 gram okara, second formulation which is 45 gram mushroom, 45 gram okara, and the third formulation which is 25 gram mushroom and 65 gram okara. And we weigh all the spices and ingredients. We put the ingredient according to the formulation, and then we mix all the ingredient in one bowl together. After that we uh, after that we kneaded the dough firmly, and while 30 ml of water is added gradually until it becomes soft patty dough texture. And then all of the ingredient is weighed for 100 gram and shaped using stainless steel patty mold, and we grill lastly we grill the our imitation beef patty. And then lastly, to we made the analysis to satisfy our objective, which are proximate analysis, cooking loss analysis, and sensory evaluation analysis. For the result and discussion, this formulation of patty is test based on observation of the patty for the first formulation with 25% mushroom and 65% okara as a light brown color with a dry texture. Meanwhile, the second formulation with 45% mushroom and 45% okara has a slightly dark brown color with a juicy texture. The third formulation of imitation beef patty with 65% mushroom and 25% okara has a very dark brown color with a juicy texture. And lastly, for the control patty that were made from minced beef, it is observed to have a dark brown with a slight reddish color, and the texture observed also juicy. All of the color of the patty before and after being grilled show a small difference as it becomes darker. This is because the color of the mushroom produce a brownish color to the patty and give rise to the similar characteristic as beef patty. Okay, the first formulation has the lightest brown color because it contains the highest amount of okara among the other, which leads to the light brown color.
So basically, let's move to the result and discussion part for the proximate analysis. So one of the analysis that we have performed in this research is proximate analysis. So as here we can see there's three formulation, which is the formulation 1, formulation 2, and formulation 3, and each of this formulation have a different ratio between the mushroom and okara. And for the formulation 1, there is 25% of mushroom and 65% of okara. Formulation 2, the amount percentage of the okara and mushroom is same. And formulation 3, I'm sorry, here there is some error. The amount here is 65% of mushroom and 45% of okara, and this one is control, which is beef patty. So as here we can see there's three different results, which is protein, fat, and fiber. And for the protein, as you can see, the high amount of the protein content were observed in the control, followed by formulation 1, formulation 2, and formulation 3. So from here we can see that the control or the beef patty itself have the higher amount of protein content here because it is a meat-based product. Since we know that the amount of protein content in the meat product is higher than the plant-based product, and the protein content in the formulation 1 is higher than formulation 2 and formulation 3, since we can see here that if the amount of the okara is increased, and the amount of the protein also will increase. So based on the previous research, previous literature review that we have done before, the amount of protein in the okara is higher than the split gill mushroom. So let's move to the fat content. So here we can see the higher fat content were observed in control, which is beef patty, and followed by formulation 1, formulation 2, and formulation 3. So supposedly this is a good result because the control is beef patty. So as we know that beef contain a high amount of fat if compared to the plant-based product. Meat contain high amount of fat if compared to the plant-based product. So here we can see the high amount of fat were observed in control, and followed by formation 1, 2, and 3. And as you can see here, if the amount of the mushroom is increased in the IBP or imitation beef patty, the fat content will decrease because the mushroom have a lower fat content. So additional of mushroom in the patty itself will influence the fat content result. So let's move to the fiber content. So the higher fiber content were observed in control, followed by formulation 1, formulation 2, and formulation 3. But however, supposedly there is no a fiber content value were observed in this control patty, since there is a meat-based product. Supposedly it does not have any fiber, right? But however, based on the previous literature review and study that we have performed before, uh, some of the meat-based products have been added with the additional nutritive value such as artificial fiber to enhance the nutritive value of the product itself. So maybe the impurity of the processed meat that we use to produce this control patty have influenced the result. But however, from here we can see that the higher amount of the fiber were observed in formulation 1, which is 25% of mushroom and 65% of okara. And based on the previous study that we have uh, we have go through before, and the amount the okara have a higher fiber amount compared to the split gill mushroom, and the okara provide a sufficient amount of fiber contents in a imitation beef patty itself.
Okay, now we'll be looking at the result and discussion for cooking loss. The highest cooking yield was recorded is 25% represent for control, then followed by 19.80% represent for formulation 1, 17.50% in formulation 2, and 11.20% in formulation 3. From the physical observation, the higher amount of okara was added into the patty formulation, the higher the value of cooking loss was obtained. So this is because okara has a very high moisture content and dietary fiber compared to the mushroom. This means okara can hold as much as of moisture content in the vegetarian beef patty. But the moisture content was decreased eventually when vegetarian patty was grilled because it is vaporized out during the cooking process. Dietary fiber increase cooking yield because their ability to keep moisture and fat content in matrix. However, for control, which is represented by beef patty, fat was easily removed during cooking because of low density meat protein matrix as well as high fat instability. This statement is supported by previous research by Shoaib, Saha, Salim, and Tahir. Hence, the control has the greatest value of cooking yield compared to the other different vegetarian patty formulation.
So next is our interview video. So let us watch the video.
Cakap pasal kontrol tu, rasa dia memang macam daging sebenar yang macam kita beli dekat kedai begitu ketalan tu. Bentuk dia sama and rasa dia pun sama. Kemudian yang formulation first tu dia agak mushy, rasa gandum soya dia kuat, rupa dia macam burger ayam. And then yang formulation 2 tu dia chewy, tekstur dia lagi gelap daripada formulation yang first tadi. And rasa powder dia dengan mushroom tu balance lah. And yang akhir sekali formulation 3 ni rasa daging dia kuat, dia chewy dan juicy. Saya suka yang formulation 3 ni, saya suka sangat. Rasa dia seakan-akan macam control, rasa macam daging tadi, saya suka sangat.
Rasa untuk formulation 1 dia more to kacang soya, and formulation 2 rasa better than formulation 1. Okay, untuk formulation 3 mushroom paling tinggi and akan rasa sama dengan daging burger.
Saya suka nombor 3 ni, dia paling sedap. Walaupun ada saya, dia tak baik.
Saya suka formulation 3, paling sedap.
Saya suka yang ketiga, paling sedap rasanya. Sama rasa seperti dengan burger.
Antara semua
Formulation saya dah rasa saya paling suka nombor 3 sebab rasa dia memang sama macam daging biasa, sedap.
Pahit tapi rasa chewy lah. Saya rasa formulation yang ketiga paling sedap.
Following by the results and discussion for sensory evaluation. So as the data obtained, we generate the radar chart as known as quantitative descriptive analysis. So from this chart, it clearly displayed the highest score for sensory attribute taste, appearance, texture, odor, and overall acceptability was control patty, following by IBP3, 2, and IBP1. So as we can see, the higher amount of mushroom, the higher overall acceptability by consumers. Therefore, IBP3 is the most similar to the control patty. So following by statistical analysis, which included 40 untrained panelists, this table indicates mean standard deviation with different lowercase letters, which indicate 0.05 significant differences between three formations and control. According to the analysis, there were significant differences in taste, odor, and overall acceptability of formulation 1, 2, 3, and control patty. Both formulation 3 patty and control patty received higher score than the patties with less amount of split gill mushroom, which is in agreement with Bashir Sud Bandrol in 2019, which stated that mushroom have fiber structure that can mimic the texture of meat. According to this study, the unique taste of mushroom after cooking is somewhat similar to meat. Therefore, mushroom can be well-suited substrate for development of meat analog. So, in conclusion, different formulations of IBPs resulting a different physical observation of its color and texture, where higher amount of mushroom resulting darker color and become juicier. Based on the results of proximate analysis, there is significant difference in all IBPs and control. Besides, for cooking loss, there is significant difference in IBP1, 3, and control patty, where there is no significant difference in IBP2. Moreover, in statistical analysis, there is significant difference in taste, odor, and overall acceptability among all patties. In contrast, there is no significant difference in appearance and texture within all patties. Next, according to the results of proximate analysis, variation due to protein source, which is okara, was related to the amount of functional protein, fat, and fiber content, which okara may also have been the dominant factor in the changes observed in IBPs. The higher amount of okara, the greater protein, fat, and fiber content. Then, based on the cooking loss, higher amount of okara resulting a higher cooking loss levels. This might due to the higher moisture content present in okara. This was supported by previous study done by Wong and Liu in 2016. Among three formulated IBPs, formulation 3 is the most preferred by consumers. However, the score point was lower compared to control patty. In summary, this study showed that IBP has a potential qualities and can be an alternative in reducing reducing the production of meat-based patties. So that's all from us. Thank you very much.